Okay. Welcome back to the Comics Cube. We are live at the Philippine International Comics Festival with Milo Galang. And we are talking about his there's a demon in my head. This is issue 0 and whatever else you brought, we can talk about it as well.
Stay issue zero talaga.
Okay. And Milo, no, we are at the we are at PICOF Comic at Philippine International Comics Festival, SM Mega Mall, Mega Trade Hall 2. We are here until 7 p.m. How has PICOF been so far?
Thanks. Hello.
There you go.
Pickup's been really nice. The attendance is just right, and the delegates have been going around, and a lot of people have been going on that are very interested in comics and our titles in particular, especially like the delegates from foreign publishers. It almost feels like a mini book fair here, little rights market, and it's a really great feeling for me that we're getting some international attention. Yesterday was a lot for more of locals or friends, new readers. That's those are the people that came around, and there were uh, plenty plenty of them. I I still appreciate everybody who came around.
Milo, I have one question that I ask everyone who comes onto my show for the first time,
Yes,
which is why do you love comics?
it's an abusive relationship.
Explain.
You know, you get that little brain worm in your head that makes you want to go, oh, I want to tell stories and I want to draw with them and draw them into reality. And then that's all you want to do in life. And that suddenly you're obsessed with learning how to draw, learning how to write, and then learning. And then you get hit with stuff like, oh, I need to market this, I need to sell this. And then it just becomes like a really circular cycle of abuse where you need every skill you learn, you need to do another one. But it ends up like being something fun at the end when you find your pace, so to speak.
Do you remember what comics made you fall in love with comics?
I'd have to say, I I was always a wee, but I don't think that was what really pushed me. When I was in high school and a bit into college, I was actually into web comics of the 2010s. Stuff like um Gunnar Craig Court, Kevin and Kel, which is funnily enough one of the first web comics ever. Like I think it started publishing in 1994 before most people had internet. And then something in particular, there was also like not just The Meek by Dershing Helmer. There's also yung this is gone now, but Evil Diva, which is I really like the first few chapters of that when it was drawn by Brinson Art, but then the author went insane, and then it's just gone. I think you can still read it on what do you call this? The Internet Archive, but it's mostly gone, and that's a shame. Oh, and can't forget Realm of Atlant by Nate Piecos. I think a lot of people are familiar with Nate Piecos. He's the fonts guy.
He's the fonts guy.
Blambot.
Blambot is a standard in the comic book industry. As a font. And when did you start making comics?
Maybe I'd have to say, maybe really making comics. It was out of college, because by then I had started working in an animation studio, and then I was still connected with some friends from Comic Con, and then some of them were like, "Oh, join Comic Con," and I was like, "Well, I don't have a comic," and then I was developing a story for a pitch back then for it's a Bible pitch, and then I decided, oh, why not make a comic out of this and then print it and then sell that at Comic Con. That was my first title, PE Day. It is about when you're young, you want and you're exposed to a lot of like anime, you just want to make your own high school girls doing high school girls things.
How does Milo Galang of today look back on this?
I wish I continued it. I might, because I think I genuinely had like a really good idea behind it. Because it was, this is a funny word, but I encountered it a while back. It's called autoethnography, which is like writing from the perspective of somebody inside the culture. So, for example, if you take like a very anime premise, like high school girls doing high school girl things, and then you twist it to something like Filipino Catholic schoolgirls doing Filipino Catholic schoolgirls. It generates its own um, story, its own feel, and that's where it really comes from.
The famous comic book writer Alan Moore has quoted the famous mathematician Douglas Hofstadter
Mm.
in saying that they believe creativity is just taking something that already exists and then changing. Oh my God, why is my battery? Because I got it plugged.
Oh, there. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Question mark.
Thank you so much.
Uh,
Appreciate it. What do you recommend?
All right. So Douglas Hofstadter said creativity is just taking something that already exists and then imagine that there's like dials. So you just change the dial. So for example, Romeo and Juliet, you change it to 1950s New York. It's West Side Story.
Yeah.
Right. So you're absolutely correct. I think context changes everything. You take an existing idea and then you localize it. It's completely different, right? And so what have you done in between that and There's a Demon in My Head?
Between that and then, I had actually especially during the pandemic, I had worked for several creative clients. If we're getting, I remember one of my favorite projects was I was taken on as a creative director for an NFT project. But it was for a good cause. Well, rather, our side was for a good cause. Like the production had their own NFT side, and was like, and we didn't touch that. We were the client asked us to create the content for his NFT project. So the whole rage before was creating your universe and stuff, and then selling the NFTs from there. And then our thing was
Have a seat as you wait. Sila yung next day.
yeah. So yung ano namin was the client wanted a comic book. So I was in charge of writing it, and then I took on some local artists actually, and then we developed the comic for the thing. The thing is, I guess I'd have to say that the NFT side of the project flopped. So our comic, we were paid. Unfortunately, we were just not able to progress the comic project too far.
My booth mate LC De Leon just showed up, and I am taking up a bunch of his table, so I'm just going to be moving stuff around. LC, do you know Milo?
Hi,
Nice to meet you, sir. So Milo,
Yes.
talk to me about There's a Demon in My Head.
So There's a Demon in My Head started out with a simple idea. I was actually commuting to and from my animation work, and I thought, what if I could just like be a superhero and jump over the trains, over the traffic, and things would make it easy. And then I started doodling while in between work, and I developed this character. The original concept was a 30-year-old magical girl, because like typically when you hear magical girl, it's like a fucking 10, 12-year-old Japanese schoolgirl, right?
You imagine Sailor Moon.
Yeah, imagine
Yes,
Sailor
you imagine
Moon.
Sailor Moon.
So what if the magical girl is 15 years too old and is a middle class a lower middle class working girl in very late stage capitalist Manila, and that basically gave birth to Patch, which is the original title of There's a Demon in My Head. Unfortunately, for like CEO reasons and like to communicate the story better, I had to change the title.
Also, might be confusing for comics fans because Patch was once an alter ego for Wolverine.
Oh, nobody told me that.
It's way back. So, how long do you expect There's a Demon in My Head to be going?
As long as I'm alive, I guess. Well, I am pushing to develop the volume one, and actually, volume one will consist. There we go. Volume one will consist of issue 0, which is my latest release, which is explain the origin story of the main character. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which is still in development now.
Yeah.
After this, after developing the book, I want to take a little break. Not from making Patch, but sorry, Demon in My Head. But from developing the comics for a while. because I want to let the book simmer, let people find it first, and then I actually want to go into other creative endeavors for it. I actually want to develop a video game
Yes.
for Demon Head.
Yeah.
Because I have like had friends, especially some game developer friends, tell me that they're very interested in the world I've created, the world building, and they like to see it in other media. So that inspires me to like try something else after.
Describe the world.
It's Manila. But underneath the veneer of everything, there is a secret society of people who have taken on what we call the demons in the universe, which are supernatural beings that allow them access to strange powers. But the thing is, this world is not just a world of superheroes. This is a very political world with infighting, with factionalism and other things that you would not expect from like a group of people with like a common thing. Like to them, being a demon possessed person, which in the universe I call Quentes, is not something that links them together. It's something that they have up over other people.
Now describe Patch.
Patch is just this bumbling, down on her luck, paycheck to paycheck girl who basically let go of everything she was in order to survive, in order to just take everything that she needs to do with a straight face and then keep going. Like she's basically everybody who ever had to give up a dream and then had to work night shifts, mid shifts, day shifts, whenever they had to call, unpaid internships, unpaid overtime, and just they feel like they lost themselves.
Milo, we have a comment in the chat from James Windsor Smith, who I know for a fact is not actually a Windsor. Hi, James.
Hi.
And he says, "Hi, Milo. Just looked up your art. Nice stuff. I'm in the United States, so please forgive my ignorance." You're forgiven, James. Is he forgiven?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, he's forgiven. You're forgiven for being where you are. It's cool. Milo, here's my last question. Fill in the blank. If you like blank, you should read There's a Demon in My Head.
Shonen.
And actually, here's my last question. What else are you selling at your booth?
Dang it. I didn't bring the hat. Let's see if I can see if I can pull up a photo. One of the characters is called Ungoy Rico. And she's a girl. And I'm not gonna explain right now why she's called Ungoy Rico.
I feel like that's a spoiler.
Yeah. So hold up. She wears a very iconic cat hat, right? And oh, there we go.
Okay.
And it is a handmade crochet item by a friend from the Knitting Corner. Her link is in the bio. Not this bio, maybe my bio. I don't know.
Go add Milo. Go add Milo on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll be able to find it. Milo, thank you for dropping by the Comics Cube. I'm excited to read There's a Demon in My Head. This was fun. Thank you for being a part of PICOF, and I hope you enjoy. I hope sales are good. Milo Galang is at PICOF for until 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Until 7 p.m. today, until Philippine International Comics Festival closes. He is at booth
Thank you.
what?
A3.
Booth A3.
Yeah.
Yes, he is at booth A3. and
Right
he is
across the stage.
right across the stage. He is right next to
You're
right next to Yuri Pinzon, who was live streamed yesterday. And stay tuned to the Comics Cube because right after this, we will have another live stream. Actually, we are straight today, but I'm using different links for each person because so that each person can isolate their stuff. So stay tuned to the Comics Cube. Our next guest is Bambi and Ola Namago. Thank you, Milo.
all right. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Dewey.
Thank you.